33 days until exams. The countdown is on, and I have so much to do. I may or may not be panicking right now, but come on Paige, let's stay calm and make a plan. This video was filmed on Monday the 22nd of April, the day before my mock exam, whizzing forward a few weeks. And there you have it, my first exam on the 25th of May. Now we know how much time I've got to work with, I'm on a mission. With the help of my calculator, flashcards, paper, pens, I'm ready to smash these exams. But wait for it, here's the most important thing. A folder of all the stuff I need to know. Oh, and those folders up there too. Let's make a to-do list for the day before I get too overwhelmed. My tasks were a mixture of cramming for my mock exam the next day and also getting prepared for term to start. Once lectures get going, there's far less time to revise old content and there's only a week between lectures ending and exams starting. I got started with some past paper questions for my classical dynamics course. I first attempted them under timed conditions and without looking at my lecture notes as it would be in the real exam. After making a full attempt, I'd get out my lecture notes and my flashcards and add anything to my answer that I think could improve it. These questions were actually set for me to complete by my supervisor, so I've now handed them in and they're going to mark them for me. Sadly, at university the mark schemes are not as readily available as they were at school. One task complete. At this point, I decided it was time for a lunch break. With such lovely weather, it was definitely a day for a picnic. I popped down to the kitchen and made the cutest little packed lunch ever. It had Marmite sandwiches, it had fruit, it had chocolate. What more could you want? The wisteria in first court comes into full bloom this time of year. It's so pretty. I love walking through this part of college. I'd organised to meet my friends in a nearby park, so it was nice to get out, get some fresh air and stretch my legs. And here we are enjoying the sun. As you probably all know by now, the sun puts me in a very, very good mood. Meal times are very much my social times at the moment, and I enjoy chatting with my friends in my revision breaks. My plan was to go straight to the shops after lunchtime so that I didn't have to leave college again later in the day. I was in desperate need of new pencils and most importantly, flashcards. They are vital to my exam success. And of course I went to Wilko. Like, where else would I go? And we may have made the slight detour to Primark as well. Like, I was at the shops, it made sense. Retail therapy is a thing. Look at that grin. Just to illustrate how desperate I was for new pencils, this was my last remaining pencil versus the new ones I bought. Tick that task off. After my extended lunch break, it was definitely time to go to the library. I've recently found that I'm more focused when I'm working in the library compared to when I'm in my room. And the wisteria makes another appearance. I mean, can you blame me for showing it off? The struggle of finding a seat in the library during exam term. But don't worry guys, I eventually had success. Here's my little workstation. On this particular afternoon, I was revising my Oscillations, Waves and Optics course. I have a set process I like to follow when I'm revising any topic in depth. Firstly, I go through the lecture notes on that particular topic. I highlight, annotate and try and commit to memory. Then I move on to my flashcards on that same topic. I've made most of these over the course of the year, but I'll add any more if necessary. I go through them a couple of times and then I move on to the real test. I write out on a piece of paper all the key points in the lecture notes I've just read over. And I do this from memory as well. It's a real test to see if everything in the topic is ingrained in my head. After a few hours of this, I'd had enough. I left the library to find my friends and go to dinner. Freedom! In the summer, the college always runs a barbecue on Mondays. And here's what you want to see, my half-eaten chicken kebab. It was actually quite tasty and I sat outside again with my friends. Afterwards, I returned to the library for about an hour just to tie up loose ends from revision I've been doing earlier in the week. There were just some small details in some topics that I wanted to recap in advance of my mock the next day. Time went quickly, as it always does when exams are approaching, and soon enough it was time for me to head back to my room. At least there's still daylight in the summer evenings. I spent the rest of the evening in my room doing a timed past paper. It's the last thing I do before any tests, and it gets me into exam mode. And that's the final 3 tasks ticked off from the afternoon and evening's work. Happy times! I packed up my paper and pencils ready for the next day, and then it was definitely time for bed. Thank you for watching. It would make my day if you like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!